This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. I've had a secret crush on Helen for 10 years, but she never responded to my feelings. Just yesterday, she fell in love at first sight with the new transfer student in our class. She pouted and begged me, "Rocky, can you help me win him over?" I gave a bitter smile and agreed. She knew all too well that I could never say no to her. When I went to deliver something from Helen's hometown, I accidentally saw her and the transfer student Tony kissing. I stood frozen at the door, my mind buzzing. The girl I'd loved for 10 years, always so distant and indifferent toward me, was now so passionate and unreserved with another man. "Don't leave tonight." Helen stroked his hair, her voice soft and husky in the quiet room. Tony kissed her and chuckled. "Still not enough from last night." Crash. The items I was holding dropped to the ground. Tony spotted me and gasped, "Rocky." Helen turned to look as well. The moment our eyes met, she was clearly startled, but quickly regained her calm and indifference. "What are you doing here?" I stared at the bright red mark on her collarbone, struggling for a response. "I came to see Neo." Neo was the stray dog Helen and I found in high school. Later I followed her to the same university, and Neo came with us. Helen was silent for a moment, expression blank. "Come in then." Once I stepped in, I realized what her silence had meant. The midsummer night air was thick and suffocating, blowing hot wind straight in my face. I crouched on the messy balcony, staring blankly at Neo, now locked in a cage looking listless. "Neo," I called softly. His ears, which had been drooping, suddenly twitched and stood up. My nose burned, and I rushed into the living room to confront Helen. "Helen, you know Neo was abused before. He's terrified of being confined." "Rocky." Helen cut me off, her tone sharp and annoyed. "Tony is allergic to dog fur." The rest of my words stuck in my throat. Tony was allergic, so that was the reason. But from the moment I helped them meet to when they started dating, only a week had passed. And me, I'd loved Helen for 10 years. For 10 years, I hid my feelings carefully, willingly stayed by her side as a gentle friend. She once smiled and said, "Only when I'm with you can I truly relax." Rocky, will be lifelong friends, right? Back then I couldn't respond. I just smiled bitterly and changed the topic. I'd thought about giving up, but every time I tried to distance myself, Helen would draw me back in. 2 months ago during a club trip, we encountered a flash flood and mudslide. I was separated from the group, buried under debris for hours. When the police found me, Helen was right behind them. She rushed to hug me tightly, as if I were a lost treasure returned. Her warm breath brushed my neck, her body trembling slightly. "I almost lost you," she said. The word "lost" felt too ambiguous. For a moment I was dazed, then a little hopeful. Maybe Helen did care about me. After that, I began planning to confess. The day before my confession, there was a class dinner. Tony used my phone to post a selfie of us on Facebook after I lost a game of Truth or Dare. Tony was attractive and smart, and instantly became the center of attention at school. The post received tons of likes and comments, mostly from girls asking for his contact info. What I didn't expect was Helen being among them. The next day, Helen called me directly. "Rocky, can you help me chase him?" She had always called me Rocky, with distance in her voice, but this time, she used my nickname Boda with unusual warmth. Everything afterward happened so naturally, thanks to me. They added each other on Facebook, chatted more and more, while Helen became colder toward me, snapping back to the present. Tony approached and explained, "You saw how bad my reaction was last time. I almost had to go to the hospital. I didn't mean to lock Neo up. I understand. I'll take Neo with me." Tony breathed a sigh of relief. "Oh right, Boda, I'm with Helen now." "Oh, that's good," I replied softly, pretending nothing was wrong, while my hands trembled as I packed Neo's things. Tony laughed. "Stay for dinner, Boda. Let us thank our great matchmaker." I froze, instinctively about to refuse, but Tony didn't give me a chance. "Helen, what do you think?" Helen looked at me, expression neutral. "Stay for dinner." Tony loved crab, and Helen disliked buying seafood from outside, so she made a special trip to the market, but she forgot. I had a seafood allergy recently, so during this thank you dinner, I ate plain rice the whole time. The freshly steamed crab came out, steam rising. Helen carefully peeled the crab for Tony. She lowered her head slightly, her fair fingers skillfully removing the shell, each movement deliberate. It reminded me of last New Year's, when her divorced parents both refused to take her for the holidays. I brought her home, cooked a big meal, and even cut my finger accidentally. Helen rushed to bandage me, and asked what I wanted as a New Year's gift, looking into her gentle eyes. I joked, "I love crab. Can you peel it for me?" She refused without hesitation, but now, she placed crab meat into Tony's plate, even with a hint of affection. A pang struck deep inside me. My hand holding the chopsticks trembled. Dinner dragged on forever. I barely spoke, until a knock came at the door. Helen went to open it. "Haley." I instinctively looked up. A pretty figure darted toward me. "Rocky, you're here too." Startled by her enthusiasm, I awkwardly pulled away. "And you are?" The girl was strikingly beautiful. If Helen was a quiet orchid, she was a flamboyant peony. "You don't remember me." She looked like she might cry. I searched my memory. The little girl who used to follow Helen and me around gradually overlapped with this grown-up version. Haley was Helen's distant relative, once stayed at her place as a child. Though younger, Helen had to call her cousin due to family ties. The three of us grew up together, until Haley suddenly went abroad in high school. She used to stutter, and was often bullied, but now, she seemed fine. Sensing my confusion, Haley winked. I went abroad for treatment. I'm cured now. I smiled, genuinely happy for her. That's great. But she kept staring at me. I grew a bit uneasy. What is it? Her cheeks flushed. She looked everywhere but at me. It's been so long. I really missed you. You too. My face warmed too. Before I could respond, Haley teased, Rocky, all these years, did you get a girlfriend? No, I haven't. Her eyes lit up. She stammered. That's good then. I froze, not sure what she meant. When I glanced back, I saw Helen's face, visibly darkened. Was she not happy to see Haley? But I remembered, they used to be very close. Seeing the anger in Helen's eyes barely concealed, I was a little surprised. Helen was usually quiet and reserved, rarely showing her emotions like this. The last time I saw her this upset was back in our second year of high school. A new girl had transferred to our class. She was cheerful, outgoing, and top of the class, especially good at English. The teacher had arranged for me to sit next to her. At the time, my English grades were at the bottom of the class, and I was too embarrassed to ask Helen for help. Somehow the girl seemed particularly enthusiastic about helping me. She not only shared her memorization tricks with me, but also patiently went over my mistakes every day. Helen and I were neighbors, and I had always gone home with her after school. But during that period, I stayed late in the classroom every day for tutoring with the new girl. One day I was too tired and rested my head on the desk. I suddenly felt someone lean in close. Startled, I opened my eyes. The girl looked like she was about to kiss me. I was too shocked to react. Then I heard Helen's voice from behind me. So this is what tutoring looks like. There was a trace of anger in her tone. If you listen closely, you might even think she sounded jealous. I hurried after her to explain, but I was terrible with words. After stammering for a while, all I managed to say was, if it makes you unhappy, I won't let her tutor me anymore. Her expression was so subtle, and somehow I found myself asking, is it because you don't like seeing me close to other girls? Helen paused for a moment. Then she looked away uncomfortably and said quietly, my English is pretty good too. That's when it hit me. She meant she could tutor me instead. My heart started to race, but at the same time a deep sadness settled in. We grew up together. I knew her too well. She was always like this, always reeling me in. Just when I was about to give up, tired and disappointed, she'd give me a glimmer of hope, just enough to keep me from walking away. It was like that before, and now even though she had a boyfriend, it was still the same. So what did she really see me as? A backup she could call on when needed, or just an insignificant childhood friend? I lowered my gaze and turned away, my eyes falling on Haley. Suddenly Haley jumped in front of me, half joking, as she asked, so Rocky, can I pursue you? Sure. I looked at her. The gloom in my heart lifted. I suddenly felt like teasing her. Give it a try and see what happens. I even picked up a piece of crab and gently placed it on her plate. Whatever Helen's reaction was, it no longer mattered to me. For once I felt free. Dinner had barely ended before Haley grabbed my hand and pulled me away. She said she wanted to bond with her crush. I didn't want to stick around and watch Helen and her boyfriend being lovey-dovey anyway. So I picked up Neo's crate and followed the girl out. It was already late at night. Haley took me to a movie theater, bought 2 tickets for a late-night showing, then ordered us each a beer, Rocky my treat, a movie for a better mood, and something sweet to drink, she said. I looked at her surprised. I remember you used to hate sweet drinks when you were little. Haley smiled. I heard that sweet things release dopamine. It helps people feel better. So after this beer, stop frowning, okay? Someone who doesn't like you isn't worth it. I stared at her. That's when I realized she was trying to comfort me. Something inside me shifted. All these years chasing Helen, I had gotten used to swallowing my sadness alone. This was the first time someone was actually trying to comfort me. So when Helen texted me that night, for the first time ever, I didn't reply. Haley and I stayed out late that night, since pets weren't allowed in the dorm. I planned to leave Neo with her for a few days, while I searched for a new place. The next day, after a public lecture, Tony stopped me in the lecture hall. Rocky, I'm moving in with Man. There was no ripple in my expression. That's great. I hope you two are happy. Tony stared at me closely. His voice was a bit hoarse. Rocky, do you like Man too? See, even someone like Tony, who just met me, could see right through me. Yet all these years, Helen acted like she never noticed, keeping me by her side under the label of friend, calling on me whenever she wanted. My chest tightened. I sighed. You didn't have to tell me this. Whatever I feel, Helen has always seen me as just a friend. Who she chooses is her own business. Tony was quiet for a while. Then he asked, did you ever confess to Helen? I looked at him and said slowly, Helen used to see me only as a friend, and now and in the future, that's all we'll ever be. Tony looked at me silently. After a moment, he asked, what about that girl Haley? Do you feel something for her? I didn't answer right away, but I thought seriously about it. After a pause, I smiled and said slowly but sincerely, if I've loved the wrong person for so long, then I owe it to myself to chase real happiness this time. The tension in Tony's face disappeared. He patted me on the shoulder with relief. I think you too have a shot. Haley had just returned to the country. She wasn't familiar with much around here, but still insisted on helping me look for a place to live. She looked delicate like a girl untouched by the world. But when she started bargaining with the landlord, her words were sharp and eloquent, like a seasoned debater on a stage. The landlord had no chance. Eventually he gave in. When we signed the lease, he glanced at me and sighed. Your girlfriend's amazing, even better at managing life than mine. At the word girlfriend, Haley, who had just been all confidence and fire, suddenly faltered. I'm not yet, she muttered, as a blush spread across her cheeks, creeping all the way to the back of her ears. I heard the landlord chuckle teasingly. I looked at Haley's sparkling eyes, and my heartbeat picked up without reason. Once we settled the house, I took Haley to grab dinner nearby. We wandered and snacked until about 6:30. Then Haley walked into a convenience store, came out holding 2 beers, and handed one to me. To celebrate you finding a place, she said. Here's a drink on me. I rarely drink. The last time was after the college entrance exam. Back then, I had used the excuse of being tipsy to ask Helen out. I wanted to confess my feelings to her. I waited a long time that night, full of anticipation. What I got instead was a Facebook message. Sorry I overslept. Already made plans with someone for a graduation trip. Can't miss the flight. I'm off. Helen never once changed her plans for me, and never apologized for letting me down. I snapped back to the present, and took the beer from Haley. The moment I opened it, foam burst out in a rush, spilling all over me. I fumbled for tissues in my pocket, but Haley grabbed my wrist, raised the bottle to her lips, and took a few sips from it, right from my hand. Then she looked up at me with wide, innocent eyes. This is fine, she said. Her hair brushed against my wrist, carrying a light fragrance, tickling my skin. The wind howled in my ears. I could feel her body tense, her breath warm, her scent sweet and comforting. She wasn't the clingy little girl who used to follow me and Helen around. She had grown up, bold and fearless. But before I could respond, her face turned redder and redder, like she couldn't take it anymore. She quickly pulled away, turning her flushed face to the side. I couldn't help but laugh. Who flirts and gets shy at the same time? After a pause, I asked her, "You're really good at bargaining. Did you learn that abroad?" Haley blinked, then nodded casually. My parents split up. Neither gave me an allowance. I had to support myself, counted every cent I earned each day. Eventually, I learned how to make it stretch. I looked at her and felt a sudden ache in my chest. She smiled. That was just one rough year. Later, I met some friends with similar interests. We started a small studio, developed mini games, won a few awards, earned our first real income. Then we got invited by a gaming company. We even went public. Now I'm a little rich woman. I smiled too. Last night, I was curious about Haley's life overseas. I searched her name in her university's forum. There were tons of confession posts from guys. Some detailed how she worked part-time, developed games, and even won an influential tech innovation award. She really was brilliant. Watching her, I casually asked, "Hey kid, why do you like me?" Haley paused. It took her a moment to reply. Liking someone is just a feeling. There's no reason. Maybe it was when you stood up for me as a kid, chasing away those bullies. Or maybe it was all those times you brought Helen snacks and gave me candy too, just in passing. Listening to her confess her longtime crush, my face felt oddly warm. I had spent so long feeling insignificant next to Helen. I never imagined I could be someone else's shining light. Haley looked straight at me, her eyes soft. "A few days ago, I went to your school to wait for Helen. At the bookstore near the gate, I saw you. I recognized you instantly. You were the big brother who once saved me from the bad guys, but you didn't notice me. By the time I was about to call out, you were already gone." That night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. Her words kept replaying in my mind. Only now did I realize how low I had sunk in my silent love for Helen. Her indifference, her neglect, made me constantly doubt myself. It never occurred to me that someone else had quietly watched over me all these years. To be needed, to be liked, to be cherished. Haley laid it all bare in front of me. The very things I once thought unreachable. How could I push away something so precious? With that thought, I picked up my phone and posted on Facebook, learning to let go of the past, to embrace someone who truly fits me. Hello, girlfriend. Attached was a picture of 2 beer cans clinking, one hand broad and firm, the other slender and fair, with a tiny mole on the index finger. Haley had insisted we take that photo, said she wanted to remember the moment. Seconds later, she liked the post and commented, "Hello, boyfriend." I smiled. Just as I was about to message her, a new reply came in. "You and Haley are together." The familiar nickname stunned me. Then my phone rang. It was Helen. I declined the call, without a moment's hesitation. All those times, I waited for her to text back. Felt like a long, distant dream. What I didn't expect was how Helen, who used to be so reserved with her words, would lose all pride, calling and texting over and over, asking to talk. I found it ridiculous. What was left to say between us? Besides, I was with Haley now. A proper boyfriend should keep his distance from other girls. So I blocked her. A month later, Tony called me out of the blue. He had just moved out of the dorm. Helen broke up with me, he said. She told me she never really liked me, that she liked someone else. I know she meant you, but why? She came into my life first, made me fall for her, and now this. She's the type who only enjoys being chased. She loves having people orbit around her. What right does she have to talk about love? Tony, the cold, aloof star of the law school, was crying on the phone. In a tear-choked voice, he finally said, "Rocky, I don't blame you. I didn't know what to feel. Pity for Tony, or frustration at Helen's cruelty." Just then, an unknown number popped up on my screen. I knew who it was. Suppressing my disgust, I still picked up. She spoke almost immediately. "Rocky," you finally answered. That line, I used to say it to her all the time, and she would always respond coldly. "If there's nothing important, stop calling me." Now the tables had turned, but I didn't feel any satisfaction, because I genuinely felt nothing for her anymore. Turns out, letting go of a 10-year obsession wasn't as hard as I imagined. Now, my heart belonged to someone else. Haley's lovely face flashed in my mind. I couldn't help but smile. Then Helen's voice came through again, urgent. "Rocky, I calmly interrupted her. "Helen, I followed you for 10 years. 10 years. Even if you had turned around once. Just once. But you didn't. Now I've truly moved on. If you still care at all about our past, please don't disrupt my life anymore." There was a long silence. Then she asked, her voice trembling with tears, "Rocky, are you with Haley? Just to make me jealous? To win me back?" "Well, congratulations. It worked. I can't live without you. I love you, Rocky. Will you be my boyfriend?" I never expected Helen to see me that way, to confess to someone already in a relationship, and do it with such confidence. What did she take me for? A spineless fool without limits? Maybe it was my fault for chasing her with no dignity all those years. I admit I was blind, but now I'll open my eyes wide and start over with the right person. After moving into my new place, I went to pick up Neo from Haley's place. Halfway there, it suddenly started to rain. I jogged the rest of the way, but accidentally twisted my ankle. A sharp stone scratched my skin and blood began to bead up from the cut. When I arrived at her home, I was limping. Haley was in the living room and immediately noticed the injury on my foot. She frowned and quickly walked into her bedroom. She soon returned holding ointment and a bandage, kneeling down to tend to my wound. Her cool fingers touched my skin, the scent of her perfume lingering in the air. Once she finished, I pulled my foot back abruptly, almost like I was fleeing. I hid in the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face, trying hard to calm myself down. At some point, Haley came in without a sound. She hugged me from behind, her voice low and soft. "Rocky, how long are you going to stay in here?" My boyfriend gets a little ointment and turns all shy. "Really?" She laughed gently. I blushed furiously. The light hit her porcelain white face, casting a warm orange glow in her eyes. Her gaze shimmered with emotion, heat, and longing. "Rocky." She whispered my name and wrapped her arms around my neck. "I want to kiss you." I opened my mouth trying to speak, but she leaned and suddenly brushed her lips lightly against mine. A kiss as gentle as a dragonfly touching water. Then her pupils contracted slightly, eyes sparkling. "So this is what kissing feels like." I swallowed hard, my throat suddenly dry. "You've never kissed anyone before." She shook her head, then narrowed her eyes. "And you?" I shook my head honestly. "No, I haven't." Haley laughed, gently cupping my chin. She tilted my head up and kissed me again. "Then let's try one more time." I don't know how long we stayed like that. When she finally pulled back, she was breathing heavily. Her gaze burned into my skin. "Rocky, I'm so happy." I reached out and brushed her hair. Just as I was about to speak, a sound came from the door, like someone using a keycard. I instinctively looked over. Helen was standing at the door, her face stormy. She walked in quickly, her expression pale and twisted in disbelief and anger, as if I had betrayed her. It was so absurd I almost laughed. "What are you doing, Helen? We're just friends, childhood friends, classmates. I'm kissing my girlfriend. Why do you think you get to look at me like that?" Haley slowly got up from the couch beside me, her voice calm and lazy. "Helen, kindly return the keycard my mom gave you, and please leave my house." Helen's face grew darker. She stared at Haley, then suddenly raised her hand, about to strike her. I caught her wrist immediately, stepped between them, and said sharply, "That's enough." Helen froze. Her eyes turned red. She stared at me for a long time, then spoke hoarsely. "Rocky, you used to never talk to me like that. Are you really going to throw away everything between us for Haley? We've been together for 10 years. You'd abandon me for someone who just came back to the country." I looked at her, my voice calm. "You crossed a line, Helen. We're just friends, so there's nothing to abandon. Haley is my girlfriend now. Protecting her is what I should be doing." Helen stood frozen in place. I flung her arm away like shaking off garbage. She stumbled and fell to the floor stunned. She looked up at me, disbelief written all over her face. "Rocky, I broke up with Tony. What does that have to do with me?" Her eyes filled with pain. Rockey, I really regret it. I took your care for granted before I ignored you. I'm sorry, okay? Only after being with Tony did I realize he was just a novelty. I didn't really like him. The one I love is the Rockey who always stayed quietly by my side. The Rockey who always supported me no matter what. The one who brought me home on New Year's Eve and made dinner when I was alone. The one who forgave all my selfishness without complaint. I cut her off. That Rockey was an idiot. An idiot who fell for someone completely unworthy. If I could do it all over again, I think that Rockey would have turned and run the first time he saw you. Helen trembled, about to cry. Her eyes filled with sorrow. In the past, if she had looked at me like that, I would have felt guilty, maybe even heartbroken. But now I felt strangely calm. Even slightly disgusted. Helen, whoever I'm with in the future, it has nothing to do with you. If you have any pride left, don't cling to a man with a girlfriend. Helen stood there stunned. Her face turned pale. Haley, clearly losing patience, didn't ask her to leave. Instead, she looked at me with a soft, innocent pout. Rockey, it's thundering outside. I'm scared. Why don't you stay with me tonight? I turned slightly, just in time to see Helen's body flinch. Okay. I pulled Haley into my arms and turned back into the room. After Helen left, I thought it over and decided to go home. Spending the night at a girl's place didn't feel quite right, but the rain had gotten heavier. Just as I stepped outside, Haley's voice called out from behind me. What I said earlier, I meant it. Tonight, don't go. She walked toward me slowly, wrapped her arms around me from behind. Rockey, I really like you. She held me tightly, so close I could hear her heartbeat, racing together with mine. The bed curtain felt like a cocoon, sealing us into a world of only two people. Are you nervous? Haley's voice brushed past my ear, like a breeze rippling across a lake. And you? She placed my hand over her heart and smiled. See, she's trembling. The heat rose all over me. My mind buzzed, as if filled with cement, shutting down entirely. She kissed my brow. Rockey, I've liked you since the moment you chased away those bullies for me as a kid. She kissed my nose. And again when we met at the bookstore. She kissed my collarbone. In my heart, you're handsome, kind, and amazing. If someone couldn't see that, it's their loss. You deserve to be loved by anyone. With every sentence, she kissed me again. Rockey, do you like it when I treat you this way? I looked into her eyes, burning with desire. Something seared inside me. Word by word, slow and sincere, I said, I do. I like you too, Haley. Her final whisper melted into the rhythm of our breathing. Rockey, you have to cherish me too. The temperature in the room kept rising. My phone on the nightstand kept buzzing, but neither of us paid it any attention. The next day, I had an early class, so I got up early. I turned my head, and Haley was still sound asleep beside me. I smiled, tucked her in properly, then went to school. After getting dressed and going downstairs, I saw a familiar figure sitting on the bench below. It was Helen. The sky was just starting to brighten, and under the faint streetlight, I saw her pale face, her messy, still damp hair, and a pile of cigarette butts at her feet. She was smoking. Helen had learned to smoke during her stressful graduate exams. I had nagged her many times about the harms of smoking, telling her girls especially should smoke less. She impatiently stubbed out the cigarette. I asked her, will you never smoke again? No, she said. Promise. Helen laughed at my persistence. Unless I feel like I'm dying and need smoking to ease the pain, then I won't smoke again in my life. I calmly looked at Helen in front of me. She looked really miserable now, painful, broken, fragile, and pitiful, like she could shatter at any touch. She was so different from the untouchable goddess she used to be. Helen looked up at me. Her eyes were red. She seemed to have been waiting here for me all night. She didn't speak, just cupped her face, quietly crying. Suddenly, I felt sad. I remembered the first time I met Helen, in the library. She was flipping through a book written entirely in English, her face expressionless, her long curled eyelashes half lowered, like an angel fallen to earth. After I accidentally made a noise, she slightly raised her eyes. Her cold but calm gaze pierced my heart at that moment. Back then, I didn't care about the outcome. I only knew I was offering my sincere heart. For 10 whole years, I abandoned my dignity, lowered my standards repeatedly, stumbled and followed closely behind Helen, without even hoping for a result. She neither rejected me nor got close. But a person's deepest desire is to have love that is treasured, love that is equal, love that respects each other. One-sided chasing is not love. Giving alone is not equality. Endless compromise and internal struggle is not respect. I used to think Helen was a goddess adored by everyone, spoiled and unable to love, not knowing how to love others, until she fell in love with Tony. She locked my dog away because Tony was allergic to dog hair. She peeled crab for Tony despite her obsession with cleanliness. She became a gentle and considerate girlfriend for Tony. Love is human nature. No need to teach it deliberately. No need to learn it hard. No matter how much you like someone, you cannot stand being ignored. No matter how brave and passionate the love, it fears comparison. Giving up can be just a moment's decision. So I said to her, Helen, you said you liked me, but if you truly like someone, you want them to be happy. You care about all their feelings. But over the years, you only come to me when you need me. And when I am sad, you coldly watch and tell me to calm down. even your current pain, is just because the person who always followed you before no longer obeys you. Helen sobbed. Rocky, it's not like that. How could it be? I just hadn't realized my own feelings. We've known each other too long. Since childhood, you've always been behind me, always appearing whenever I needed you. Because of your favor, I was reckless and arrogant, but I didn't see my own heart clearly. I always thought you would never leave me, but last night I was here, watching you and Haley together all night. I couldn't stop imagining how close you two might be. That anxiety, restlessness, and sadness made me realize I really like you. I truly regret it. Regret not having had the chance to like you properly. You used to like me so much. Can you like me again? My heart was calm. I couldn't help but think back to the first semester of freshman year, when Helen went to a bar all night with classmates. Worried and unable to persuade her, I stayed guarding the bar entrance the whole night. But why should I pay for your regret? Your regret is your own. Now to me, you're just a friend I've known since childhood. I will cherish Haley, respect her, love her. We will be good together. Please don't disturb our lives anymore. After saying this, I turned and walked away. When I turned my head, I saw Haley had come downstairs without me noticing, standing not far from us. She must have heard everything. I opened my arms, watching her run towards me, an uncontrollable smile in my eyes. Did you make it clear to her? I looked at her. Yes, I did. She raised her eyebrows slightly, and I said firmly, Helen and I will have no relationship from now on. Haley smiled. Good. You deserve a reward. Then she boldly kissed me on the lips, as if remembering something. Haley said thoughtfully, that won't work. After all, Helen still calls me Aunt. I was stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter. Unclean law. That's fine too. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.